If your craft room is organized or starting to get organized and it still feels frustrating, the problem might be containers. If you've ever opened a storage bin or tried to get to a particular supply and have thought to yourself, why does this feel so frustrating? It could be that how you're storing things isn't functional for your space. So we're going to talk about that today. Hey everybody, it's Whitney with Girl Friday Crafts. Welcome back to a new month and a new theme of our organizing tip of the week. We did a creative space refresh in January. In February, we are going to talk about fine tuning, and we're continuing on with the R and the F and the T of my craft acronym for how to organize your physical space, which is the functional containers and the tidying and tune-up, which we will get to next week. I'm a little late today. I love doing these live. Just, I don't know, I find that I stumble over everything and have to edit 15 times if I try to record. But the downside about trying to go live is that you can't always go live at the exact same time every week, which was my issue today. So happy to finally have made it on live for you all. Just in case I forget, as always, there is a link to the worksheet for this week in the video description if you want to check that out. So functional containers. One of the things that I have learned over time is that not all containers are created equal, not just in terms of how much they'll hold, where they'll fit, but their actual functionality in making it easy for you to work in your craft space. So I encouraged you over the past few weeks to categorize your supplies, to think about how you want to lay your room out to reduce your stash, which we might all still be in the process of doing that, to assign your supplies a home, figure out where in your craft space you want to put them, and have also encouraged you in all of that, don't start going out and buying storage containers. Because oftentimes until we've done the other 3 steps, we don't know exactly what we need in terms of storage containers. And it can be frustrating to buy things that don't fit where we need them to go or don't hold everything that we need them to hold. And then we just sort of have to start all over. And that leads to frustration and decision fatigue and ultimately kind of like, nope, I'm just leaving everything the way it is. So the best way for me to do this and talk about functional storage actually is to show you all my craft space. We were going to do a tour last week, and I decided I wanted to change that and do it this week. And I took some pictures, and we are going to test my technical savvy here and bring those pictures in. And I don't know if I can do this. We're going to see if I can do multiple at once and then just scroll through them. Let's find out. Let me bring them all over here. No, apparently I can't do that. Okay, so we're going to have to do these one at a time. So this first picture is just going to be, this is just sort of what my space looks like. Please bear in mind that it is it's still a little messy. It's not perfect. It is not exactly the way I want it. We are still working through that process, and I'm still making some changes. This is the other part of the room. That's a box. That's a stack of stuff that needs to get mailed out. But we're going to start actually weirdly with the closet because that is probably the space that I am happiest with right now. And that did not do what I wanted it to do. I should have put all of these in a video or a slide presentation because then it would have just all come over all at once, but that's okay. If we don't get through all of this today, we will do more next week. So this is all in my closet. There's other pictures of the closet as well that that I'll show you, but I want to talk about this in particular because I have finally gotten this the way I really want it. So this is just one of those, it's actually two of those stacked on top, those storage cube things that you can get for kids' rooms or, you know, for a living room. I think I got these particular ones from Michael's years and years and years ago. I've had these forever. And then I just got these fabric drawers, these green fabric drawers. I'm dragging my mouse around on the screen, even though you all can't see that. I just got these fabric drawers from the Big A this year, and there's all kinds of things stored in here. Actually, let me make this bigger for myself. So I've got labeled, most of these are labeled, some I need to still label, but I've got acrylic stamps, my Mod Podge, well, my Mod Podge right there, but my Crackle. Those two right there are both just medium and I don't even know what you call it, like my diamond dust and my Epsom salts and stuff to make like scorch paste and all of that. Just both of those in there. Mounted stamps are there. My resin stuff is down here. That right there, this bottom left-hand corner is dies and embossing folders. That is random stuff that I haven't figured out what to do with. It doesn't need to go there. Creative Memories tools and punches. That is my Cricut Joy. That is my Empress. But this right here up at the very top, my paints. I am loving this. I struggled forever with how to store my acrylic paints, and I found these storage containers. I will link to those in the video description. I also need to update the section on my organized dish page on my website to list this as one of my now favorite organizing supplies. There's two of them. I wish if they were just a little bit wider, it would fit one extra bottle in each row. And if the rows were a little deeper, my chalk pastes would fit in there. My 2-ounce jars of chalk paste would fit in there. But I like it. I can see all of the colors that I have and know what I'm running low on. It's very easily accessible and very visually appealing, which I really like. This on the right hand side, the storage tower, also came from Michael's. We just got all kinds of random stuff in there. The bottom shelf is chalkature transfers. The middle shelf is my tax binder, stuff for my planner. Got a couple of boxes of pictures. This top shelf with the dividers up here, that's like my laminating, film, labels, things like that. Parchment paper, Teflon paper, all of that. And then obviously up there is my heat press. These storage cubes are great. They are very functional. You can use them obviously without the fabric drawers or with, depending on what you need. But they're not quite tall enough to be functional for binders and things like that. You can use them for some books. Obviously, you could stack the binders on top of each other as opposed to standing them up tall, and that would work. But for this kind of setup, especially if you have a closet that you can put things in and you really want to maximize your space, this is great. And then I have like my stamps organized within that with little just cardboard dividers, breaking them up by season or theme depending on what they are. So that way when I get in there and trying to find something, it's a little easier. It's also really not that difficult to pull that fabric drawer out, set it on my desk, find the couple of things I'm looking for, and put it back. Let's see, we are going to go to what is the next thing that I want to show you all in here? That's the closet with my bookshelf. I have two bookshelves actually. I wish I could bring them both up side by side, but I don't think I can do that. So this is one of them. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's just waiting to be mailed. Got some memorabilia up here and here. Up at the very top, I'm acting like you all can see where my mouse is pointing. On the very top there is just some memorabilia. I'd like to actually get some risers or some shelves and get some height onto that. Might be able to move some things up so that it's utilizing that space. This shelf right here, this second shelf with the plastic tubs and the Amazon box, that is stuff that I need to get to a lot. So we've got in there packing and mailing supplies. This middle one is, yeah, that's what I thought. It's my paper craft socials, like my envelopes that I put my paper craft socials kits in, and some of the little bags that I use when I'm putting ribbon and embellishments together. This second shelf, far right-hand side, is usually where I keep kits for an upcoming class. So I have a class, I've got some kits I need to paint as samples, that's sitting right there. We've got card bases, my Sizzix die cut machine, stickers and things like that I use all the time, all my beads, and my container with my stamps and inks. Not the stamps, but the inks and my ink daubers and my ink refills. There's another word for that. Down on the bottom is books and scrapbooks and things like that. So these containers, not the middle shelf, but the second shelf and the second shelf from the bottom, those containers, and those should be on my website already, and I will link to those. Those are my absolute favorite. Those are Sterlite Stack and Go. They are 2-level with a handle that stack on top. So if you are storing like things together, things that you use all the time, things that need to stay together, those are perfect. And they come in a smaller version that could go 3 or 4 deep, and the top of that 3 or 4 deep one is compartments, and then the others are open. Also great. I'm using those for like my beaded pins, supplies, and things like that. So absolutely love that. My other bookshelf, pull in that picture. There really has to be a way to do multiple. I got to play around. You would think I would have thought about this beforehand, but no. Why would I do that? So this is my other bookshelf. So all of the stuff sitting in front of the bookshelf, that is an area in progress. This particular bookshelf, so the top shelf is all books. That's my Wizard of Oz and Harry Potter collection. This middle shelf is all things that need to be cleaned out. And then, not middle shelf, the second shelf, the third and fourth shelves, y'all, that's all paper. I have a paper problem. And as she says, as she has new Tim Holtz paper on the way. So I need to destash some of that. So if you follow me on Whatnot, I'll put a link in the video description. Or if you're in my Facebook VIP group, also put a link in the video description. I think that's already there, actually. I will be doing some destash sales. I've already made a pass at some of this paper. I need to make another pass. The colored envelopes or folders that are on those shelves are embellishments. I've sort of changed how I'm storing some of that stuff. I would very much like to get all of this down to one shelf. I don't know how realistic that is, but that's the goal. Now, obviously, using it would be a great way to do that as well. The bottom shelf that you all can't see are those Iris 12 by 12 storage containers, also one of my favorites. And those have in progress scrapbook pages, scrapbook supplies that are for specific things. So embellishments that I bought to go with a very specific scrapbook layout, or for scrapbooking a particular event, that sort of thing. And then in finished pages, in progress pages, and those sort of specific embellishments. And we'll talk in another video at some point about organizing for project specific work and how to think about that. That's particularly important when we get close to our holiday crafting, is when we're pulling things out and it's something we're going to be working on for a little while, and we need to keep everything together so we don't have to pull it out over and over and over again. Those iris containers are really good for that. And I want to talk about this rolling cart as well. And then I want to talk about the worksheets for today, because I think this will be a good stopping point. There's a couple more pictures to show you. We can talk about that next week. That'll actually be good for the tidying and tuning. Sound like we're talking about a tuning fork. Tuning conversation. So this right here, this rolling cart, this brightly colored, beautiful rainbow looking rolling cart, I struggled for probably 2 years on how to store my chalk couture paste. I did not have room to store it on a shelf that gave me the ability to get to it. Like, I have shelves, but they're too deep. And so I couldn't see everything that I had. And storing it in a carrier or something like that, which I tried a couple times in the closet, was just a pain. And I like to organize by color. We've talked about that. And so I found this rolling cart at Michael's, and it's just perfect because they actually fit. Now, the jars of paste and ink on the top are ones that are unopened. So those are, ones that I've ordered because I'm running low. So there's like a black jar right there. I'm running really low on black. I haven't quite opened that one yet. So that's kind of where I put those. But each one of these, I should have counted. Hold on. I'm going to roll and count real quick and tell you all. Yeah, I mean, each one of those drawers will hold in excess of 10, 12, 15 jars of paste or ink, because you can fit 2 layers and it will still close. And so I've got my purples, my dark blues, my light blues, green, yellow, orange, pink, red, and then the bottom 2 are my neutrals, white, silver, vanilla, dune, and then the bottom one, black, gold, gray, that sort of thing. Works great. Love it. Easily within my reach, like we talked about last week, and makes it easy to put away, makes it easy to get those out. So when we talk about functional containers, and in your worksheet, there's just a chart that's a functional container planning page. And it gives you a place to write down what the supply is, how much you're storing, what are the dimensions of the area where you want to store it, so you know how much space you have available, and then just a place to put any notes. But when you're thinking about what types of storage containers you want, you need to think about not only the space that you have and how much, like, will the container fit where you want it to go, and will it hold what you want it to hold, but also, is it going to be easy to get in and out of in such a way that it fosters you putting stuff away when you're done. So that rolling cart for my chalk paste, for example, all of my other previous ways to store that were not conducive to me putting the paste away in my color system to make it easy for me to find the next time. So I would have jars just everywhere. That makes it so easy, not only to get out, but to put away. So think about things that need lids, and it's okay to have a lid and it's okay to have stacked, versus things that you are not going to want to have to pull off of a shelf, sit down somewhere, open a lid, and get into. I am struggling right now actually with, I have 2 containers that have like little stickers and things like that that I use when I sell on Whatnot. I use them as giveaways, I send them with purchases, that sort of thing. And it's driving me crazy to have to pull those off the shelf, get into the containers. The containers have containers inside of them to be able to find the stickers that I'm looking for. And I've tried a like filing card holder thing, didn't like that either. So I'm not sure what the solution is, but I'm rethinking because um, I'm not liking having to go through all of those steps just to grab something that I need really quickly. Other things I don't mind, like the stamps. I don't mind pulling that fabric thing out, bringing it over to my desk, flipping through it, finding the couple of things I need, putting it back. That's not an issue. It doesn't bug me. So I'm going to leave it be because it's working. That's the other part of your worksheet for this week is what's working, what's not working. So it's 2 sections and some fill in the blank questions. When you think about what's working, that question, you're not allowed to say nothing. Something has to be working, and use the questions that are on that worksheet as prompts for you to figure out what's working, because we don't want to mess with that. If it's working, we want to leave it alone, and you want to make sure that the systems that you set up, the containers that you buy, however you are revamping your room, actually allow you to leave that system in place, leave whatever is working in place. Same with what's not working. You're not allowed to say all of it. We want to be specific. We want to hone in on what's not working and why it's not working, because that's how you solve the problem. That's how you get to a meaningful solution. In this case, a solution that's going to make it easier for you to get things out and put things away and ultimately keep your space better organized. All right, whew, that was a lot for me today. Please let me know if you have any questions. As always, drop them in the comments. You are also more than welcome to email me, Whitney@girlfridaycrafts.com. And not only will I respond to you, but I'll bring that question into the next video, because if it's a question you have, I'm sure it's a question somebody else has. Make sure that you grab the worksheet from this week, and all of the worksheets from weeks before are posted on that website link as well, so you can grab anything that you missed. And I will be back next week with another tip. Talk to you later. Bye.